It's been said before that when we enter school as a child, we enter as question marks. And when we graduate as adults, we're all periods. The average 6-year-old asks 65 questions a day, while the average 44-year-old asks only 6. Recent research might explain why this happens. You see, we tend to get rewarded for answering questions, not asking them. In this video, we'll talk about asking questions that drive learning. If we are conditioned to not ask questions, then we can certainly recondition ourselves to start asking questions and more of them once again. You see, questioning is a skill that when mastered can help you gather more quality information, to better understand a person or situation, expand perspective of a person or situation, discover options and alternatives, and determine action plans and next steps. There are many different types of questions you can ask depending on the context and the quality and quantity of information that you want to get. In the context of learning, we'll focus on 3 of them: open-ended, closed-ended, and clarifying questions. Now let's define each of these, and here's some examples of them. An open-ended question is a type of question that requires more than a yes, no, or direct one-word answer. This one is used to solicit more information rather than having to ask another follow-up question. These questions might include the words what, how, and why. For example, if you want to get feedback on some prospecting techniques you shared with your downline, instead of asking, do you agree or disagree, because that's only going to get you an agree or disagree answer, and then you end up searching for more information, you might try asking, based on the prospecting techniques we just discussed, I'd like to hear what your thoughts and feelings are about them. Now, a closed-ended question is one that requires a simple yes, no, or direct response, a get-to-the-point answer rather than gathering of more information. These questions might include who, where, when, and how. For example, if you're presenting our SA8 concentrated fabric softener and you want to find out how many loads of laundry they do in a week, you wouldn't ask them to describe their weekly laundry chores. You may be listening for an hour before you get your answer, because some people, when asked what time it is, they tell you how to build a clock. To get your direct response, you might ask something like this: on the average, how many loads of laundry do you do in a week? And finally, the clarifying question. It does exactly what it says. It clarifies. Questions such as, what does everyone else think? Or, can you explain that again? And one of my favorite questions of all time, because it really works, is, what does that look like? Now, working with groups is different than working with individuals. There's peer pressure and the fear of being embarrassed when they don't know the answer. The safest way to ask questions when working with groups is ask the group first and the individual second. For example, you would preface your question with something like, I have a question for the whole group, and then pose your question. It still opens the door for an individual to answer it, but it's a lot less stressful than being singled out. This technique will also create a safe environment for people and will cause them to open up, and more quickly too, than when you ask specific individuals questions first. Now, here's some tips for you when asking questions, whether in a one-on-one or in a group setting. Make eye contact with the individual or the group and keep that contact till they've answered your question. Remember, it's not a stare down, it's just eye contact. Always face the individual or the group and be clear when asking the question. They need to be able to hear you to understand the question. You can't hear people very well when they're not facing you while they're talking. Use the pose, pause, pounce technique. Pose is ask the question of the group or the person. Pause, Stop to allow the group or person to think about what you asked before responding with words or actions, and then pounce. Either redirect the question or respond with another question or clarification appropriately. Expect the unexpected and don't overreact when you get it. Sometimes people will answer you with a response that's meant to throw you for a loop, to throw you off your game, so to speak. Be ready for it and don't overreact to it. This is what they want. Simply follow the guides we teach in the video, The Power of Active Listening, and ask them to clarify the response for you to make sure you understand it. For example, you might ask, hey, I don't know if I really understand your response to the question. Can you clarify it for me so I can truly understand what you're trying to say? This will cause them to rethink what they just said and may change their motives because you didn't overreact. So in this session, we learn the value of well-framed questions, the types of questions that you can use, and how to ask questions in a group setting, and some tips for effective questioning. Hopefully you gained enough from this video to help be more like kids and ask more questions. You know, growing up, one of my favorite teachers used to tell me, the educated person is not the one who has all the right answers, but rather the one who has all the right questions. We hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to download the resources we have for this session and complete the activities. They're designed to help you put your newfound knowledge into practice. And as always, we look forward to seeing you next time. So until then, good luck and good questioning.